What's going on, everybody? It's your boy KRYPTONIAN SAIYAN here, bringing you guys another Spy Family discussion. And today, I want to talk to you guys about the moment that almost changed Loid's mission, Operation Strix, for the worst possible outcome. As we all know, Loid's mission is to get close to his target, Donovan Desmond, in order to gather intel. Originally, his plan was for Anya and Donovan's son, Damian Desmond, to form a friendship, which would allow him to have an easier introduction to Donovan Desmond. But one punch from Anya to Damian's face made that all the more harder than Loid ever anticipated. Since then, the various exploits of Anya and Yuri have yielded a mixed bag in terms of negative and positive results respectively for Operation Strix. However, one mistake by Loid almost blew his cover as a spy and almost got him exposed as Agent Twilight. And in today's video, we're going to go over that moment where Loid was almost exposed as a spy. Normally, Loid Forger lives up to his reputation as being Agent Twilight, a spy admired by other spies. However, in this one moment, the seemingly perfect Loid Forger almost had that perfection blow up right in front of his face. In chapter 67.1 of the manga, Loid is going out on his normal routine at the hospital, walking around in the office, greeting everybody, doing his normal thing. Patients are thanking him for the work that he's done. His colleagues are ecstatic for all the work that he's done in the office and how beloved he's become in such a short period of time. Even Fiona is watching from the shadows, both praising Loid for how well he was able to keep his cover, all while being eternally down bad for Loid in the process. However, it's while Fiona is keeping an eye on Loid that she notices the hospital director is scowling at Loid, and Fiona informs him privately of just how much the director hates Loid, which leads to a backstory of all the jealousy that exists on the good director's end. Essentially, Loid had so much riz when he came into the hospital that all the female workers and nurses and patients, they were head over heels for him, and that got the director extremely jealous. Then when you add in Loid is just amazing at everything he does, and how Loid's efforts to get on his good side have only made the man that much more infuriated with Loid, you've got a recipe for disaster. However, after a series of childish antics to make Loid look terrible in front of their co-workers, from mixing in laxatives into Loid's coffee, which Loid quickly makes an antidote for in order to counter, and even Loid having toilet paper stick out of his pants, which makes Loid look even more attractive to one of the nurses because it shows that Loid, who's normally perfect, isn't necessarily perfect, to even leaving a note for Fiona, who the director is secretly in love with. That ends up backfiring because Fiona, being as obsessed with Loid as she is, knows Loid's handwriting down to a T and offers to remove the director if Loid gives her the green light. And given Fiona's behavior, you can believe that remove might not necessarily be the best thing for Operation Strix. Given that all of this has failed, the director then proceeds to call the State Security Service on Loid. Now, I don't have to tell you that this is the one thing that Loid never wanted. Attention from the State Security Service, the group that Yuri's brother Yuri works for, and Yuri being somebody that has a huge bone to pick with Loid, this is the last thing that Loid wants. It draws attention to him and it puts him under a microscope. Even if he manages to avoid being exposed in interrogation, it makes his mission for Operation Strix that much harder because he's too far into the mission in order to back out. Now, it just raises more suspicions if Anya is suddenly out of the school or Loid vanishes, ups and leaves his wife and daughter after being found out by the State Security Service. There are way too many problems that can pop up from this one thing right here. So how exactly does Loid wiggle his way out of this? Well, to borrow an expression from Anya's teacher, he did so with elegant grace. Essentially what happens is two agents, they show up and they speak to the director, asking to point out the suspect, and their plan is to catch him off guard when he least expects it. So they let Loid go about his everyday routine. The director then goes on to make up a bunch of lies about Loid stealing confidential information, sneaking in to the records room at night, and passing on valuable information to the West, and even going so far as to plant fake evidence against Loid. After finding the smoking gun, they corner Loid and slap handcuffs on Loid, which makes Loid give a shocked expression, and it's then that we learn that Loid was 10 steps ahead the entire time. The State Security Service members were actually Frankie and Fiona in disguise, and Frankie, being the troll that he is, got super into the role and put on handcuffs on Loid despite it not being what they agreed to. We learned that Frankie basically intercepted the call to the State Security Service and pretended to be an officer, while Fiona hands him the disguises that she and Frankie will be wearing during this operation, which were made by Loid. As the director watches on, grinning a wide grin, Loid states that all the claims that he's a spy, they're absolutely wrong. He's done nothing wrong in his opinion, which leads to the director being dragged out by Fiona, and things quickly get complicated. Frankie pulls out a gun on the director after Loid helps him come to the conclusion that the director was the one framing him, and Frankie points the gun at the man's face. Unbeknownst to the director, it's just a lighter that was made to look like a handgun, and Fiona lays on thick, revealing that the director was on their surveillance list, and it makes the director freak out. It's then that Loid lays it on even thicker than either one of them by saying that the director is the lone shining ray of hope at the hospital and cannot have his reputation sullied, and in order to protect that said reputation, Loid will confess to everything. This leads to the director's prideful ego being stroked, and the sight of such a passionate Loid has the director feeling both shocked and guilty, while Fiona is being thirsty as ever underneath her disguise. And after Frankie calls off the investigation and tells the director, hey, you got a real loyal one with Loid, that's a good guy right there, you guys should continue working together, the ever crafty agent Twilight takes advantage of an emotional director who's now crying by weaseling his way into handling all the VIP exams at the hospital going forward, which will allow him to gain more intel on Desmond and do so without actually breaking his cover. This could have ended very badly for Loid just because one man way past his prime got jealous of him. However, it's really a testament to how good of a spy Loid is that he was both able to take the information that he got and make a detailed plan like this right on the spot and adjust according to all the trolling that Frankie was doing midway through the act in order to achieve his ultimate goal of getting access to more VIPs at the hospital and laying the groundwork to make further contact with Desmond. There's something to be said for taking a negative situation and working into a positive while mitigating all the risks while you do so, because had he misread the situation, you can believe the real state security officers would have showed up and Yor's brother Yuri would have been front and center at the top of the line, ready to bring Loid in handcuffs, and then it would have been a contest of Loid under the spotlight and trying to outmaneuver Yuri and still somehow be able to recover from the situation in a way to where he can still show his face at Eden Academy as Anya's father, and the scrutiny of being a potential spy would eliminate his work at the hospital. This could have gone bad in so many different ways, but it just goes to show that in the world of Spy Family, Loid is a standout spy for a reason. He's a spy among spies for that very reason. You can't ever count him out. So my question to you guys is, how do you guys think that Loid handled the situation? And 1 to 10, how badly could this have gone for the worst if that had been the real state security service? Well, you think that over, click here to watch these other Spy Family videos, or click here to watch these other anime videos you see on the screen right now.